we spoke a lot in hour one about this interview that she did with Dana Bash today, and this whole effort to, their one job is to look at the calendar and say, how do we get her across the finish line without her smacking her head on the table? And Eddie Scarry over at The Federalist entitles it this way: this is the see no candidate, hear no candidate campaign that the media is trying to force on the voters. The news media want voters to have extremely limited and controlled exposure to Kamala Harris. He says it's supposed to be a great honor bestowed upon CNN and even the American voters that Kamala Harris, along with her crutch, Tim Walz, will finally appear today for an interview, a taped interview, meaning edited, by the way, not a live one. Ooh, goody. Outside of any debates between Kamala and Donald Trump, assuming at least one of them will take place, this is how the next 68 days are going to be. All at the instance of the national media and to the great pleasure of Kamala Harris and her campaign. This is a first-of-its-kind presidential campaign where you're not supposed to see the candidate. Aside from the occasional still photo and edited video, accompanied by stories relayed by the media, the vast majority of which will be deceptive, if not outright and blatantly false. To the extent that it's in their control, and they do still have a lot of control, the media don't want voters directly exposed to Trump or Kamala. Trump, because the more voters see him, the more they will like him. Kamala, the exact opposite reasons. That's just the opening of this. And I mean, I think that's spot on. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what this reminds me of. In Hollywood, there's a very important job for big, big stars. You know what that job is? Publicist. This is publicist work. Managing who sees this person and who doesn't, what shows they go on, what they don't, and what they say and what they don't say. And if you go back to like Rock Hudson, some of the real classic, Hollywood stars, their entire careers were managed this way. So we're not seeing a campaign. This is not a campaign. This is a Hollywood starlet managed by publicists. The DNC was a Hollywood production managed by Steven Spielberg.
Yep.
These interviews are ABC campaigns for candidates to edit them so they look the best. I mean, that's what we're seeing. The entire system's been hijacked with this phoniness.
Yeah. And he says further on in this thing, if your reprehensible media had a genuine interest in pressuring Kamala into interviews or press conferences, there would be a spate of articles and TV segments about the objective failures of the current administration, which she has been a part of for 3.5 years. Hyperinflation, millions of illegals, migrants flooding the country, 2 new foreign wars, all happened under her watch. There would be round-the-clock coverage of the fact that her anonymous campaign aides have offered no explanation for why Kamala has allegedly abandoned every major policy position she has held for her entire national political career up until 2 months ago. If she did, what happened that led her that change of heart? We'll never know because she'll never be asked.